come by to say that if you want me to take his ashes up there on Brokeback, like his wife said he wanted to, then I'll be happy to.
Tell you what, I know where Brokeback Mountain is. Thought he was too goddamn special to be buried in the family plot.
I'm Vanessa Zoltan.
I'm Hannah McGregor.
And this is Hot and Bothered.
Okay, so we are going to talk about how this movie ends.
Twist, it's a happy ending.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about there's two final scenes. One is Ennis has found out that Jack has died. He's called Lorene, Jack's now widow, and found out that Jack is dead, that they buried some of his ashes in Texas, and that the other half of his ashes went to his parents. Lorene says he wanted his ashes scattered on Brokeback Mountain, but she didn't know if that was a real place. And so she sent the ashes to his parents.
Knowing Jack, it was probably made up.
Yeah. So Ennis has gone to Jack's parents to essentially see if he can get these ashes to scatter them on Brokeback Mountain. He gets to see where Jack grew up, which is a very poor ranch, and meet his parents. His father is an asshole. His mother seems sympathetic but worn down. She lets him go see Jack's childhood bedroom, which she kept exactly the way it was when he was a child, which when you then see the bedroom is very sad because it's a very empty space. But Ennis finds hidden in the bedroom the shirt that he was wearing when he and Jack fought on their last day on Brokeback Mountain when they were 19. Like he had a bloody nose and wiped it, so the shirt is stained with his blood. And he thought that he lost the shirt, but this is the revelation that in fact Jack kept that shirt and has kept it this whole time hidden. He comes downstairs with the shirt rolled up. Jack's mother quietly gives him a paper bag to put it in. He silently thanks her, so as I believe not to draw the wrath of the shitty father, and he leaves.
Oh, I need to add one thing. The dad says, Jack always talked about you and how you and he were going to come up here and fix up the ranch. But recently he was talking about bringing up some other guy.
Yeah.
And that makes Ennis reconcerned that Jack died violently.
The implication of what Jack's father is saying is, I knew Jack was gay.
Yeah.
And the other implication is you weren't actually special to him.
Yeah, you were replaced.
Which is such an unnecessary act of cruelty.
Yes, this dad sucks.
This dad sucks. He has this shirt now, this shirt that is stained with his blood, which again sort of evokes this question of violence in the final moments of the movie.
It's his shirt and Jack's shirt. He has a shirt of Jack's also.
Yeah, and put them together. And then the final scene is we see him moving into a trailer, and his now adult older daughter, who is now 19, the same age he was at the beginning of the movie, comes out to the trailer to tell him that she is getting married and that she would like him to be at the wedding. And he initially says that he can't, he has to work. And we see how devastating that is to her. And then he changes his mind. He gets some whiskey out, pours them both a drink, says, guess they'll have to find themselves another cowboy because I have to be at my daughter's wedding. That seems to make her very happy We're all so doomed to love men who give us so very little. And she leaves. His daughter leaves her sweater behind, and we see Ennis so gently pick up this sweater and fold it and put it aside for her in this moment of really uncharacteristic tenderness. Like, we've seen so little of this kind of tenderness from him. And then he opens his closet and we see the shirt that he has taken from Jack's childhood home hanging, and he, takes a moment to adjust the shirt. Pinned to the door beside the shirt is I believe a postcard of Brokeback Mountain, which he carefully adjusts, and then the film ends.
Yeah. Okay, what does this contribute to what the movie believes about love?
I mean, we talked last week about how seriously this movie takes the threat of violence, the possibility of violence. And one of the things that this conclusion shows us is that violence has continued to be a real and material barrier to their love because of the profound lack of clarity around Jack's death. Lorene says that it was a freak accident. He was trying to change a tire. The tire exploded. It hit him in the face. He was knocked out. He drowned in his own blood. The movie then shows us what Ennis imagines, which is him being beaten to death in a fashion akin to the man who his father showed him when he was a child. We are not given any kind of certainty about which is the case, but the fact that the totem that he has of Jack is a bloodstained shirt is there to continue to remind us of the way violence has constrained the possibility of their love at every stage, and why, for Ennis, Jack's death reconfirms what felt to him like the impossibility of their love.
Yeah, it's as soon as Lorene is telling him about the freak accident, we see that Ennis is like, it wasn't a freak accident. He was murdered. But then when Jack's dad is like, he was talking about this other guy, he's like, yeah, I knew it. Like, he got caught with that other guy. What stood out to me is that I think that this contributes to the idea that love is time. We talked about this in the last episode, that this big confrontation happened when Ennis is like, I can't see you in August. And like, I'm too old. I can't just keep quitting jobs in order to get away from you and get another job. And then his daughter comes to him and is like, I want you to come to my wedding. And he's like, I can't, right? Like, I can't get the time off work.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be in the middle of whatever calving season.
Yeah.
And he decides in that moment to do something different for his daughter than he did for Jack. Like, he's going to quit his job and risk further poverty. His daughter walks into his trailer and goes, Daddy, you need more furniture. Like, this is a man who's so poor that he can't afford furniture for his trailer. And he is going to quit his job in order to go to his daughter's wedding. And it is a, woman being willing to put up with the least from a man. I don't think it's necessarily like Ennis has learned that you quit jobs for someone, because he had quit jobs for Jack. It's just a difference. I think it's a difference for all sorts of reasons, but he couldn't quit that August, and he does quit here.
It's like it continues to be the one thing he has to offer people he loves. Like, the only thing that is his time. And it really costs him a lot to give it away to people, but he's going to keep giving it when he can. Like, looking at him in that scene, they really age Heath Ledger in a way they don't age Jake Gyllenhaal to really give us this clear visual cue of like how much being working class, continuing to work the ranch to do this hard outdoor physical labor is like wearing on his body. And in that final scene, I kept thinking like, I am older than this man.
Yeah.
He's like 39, 40.
Yeah.
And the sense of like, oh, you're ostensibly halfway through your life, but like, what is there for you on the other side of this? It's so bleak.
It's so bleak.
Ah.
One of the things that stood out to me is how scared he was for his daughter. So she comes in and she's like, Daddy, I'm getting married. And he has not met the man. And his first reaction, like acting choice, is like, you're a baby. You know, like it is just panic of my child is about to get into something she can't get out of. I can't protect her. I have no claim. He's just so scared for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just get the sense again that this threat of violence is for women also. And there's something about this car, right? She drives up in her fiance's car and it's a muscle car. It's like not a truck. I don't know. And he like doesn't like the car. He's thinking this fiance with this muscle car is not a nice guy.
Yeah.
But there's nothing I can do to stop it. So he decides to get supportive.
Yeah. And I think, you know, part of what the car signifies, this is a dynamic that I feel very familiar with having lived in Edmonton for a while, is the particular sort of class status of men who work in the oil fields, because it is work that can give you a lot of short-term wealth that is often displayed because it's like young men working jobs that are dangerous and that pay you a lot of money at a very young age. So you end up like buying a lot of wild shit, right? Like there's Edmonton's full of these guys coming down from the rigs who have these like huge fancy trucks. But that work is profoundly precarious. It is boom or bust work. And the flip side of it is we know that in economic bust periods, violence against women goes up.
Yeah.
You know, so there is this very real material threat that her husband represents for her, and that Ennis is so deeply aware.
Yeah.
And his fear for her, it tells us about the violence that has accompanied his own life, but it's also like true.
Mm-hmm.
It's legitimate. It's a legitimate fear.
It's legitimate. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that occurred to me in watching this ending, I was just like, this movie likes women. It respects women.
Yeah. And I think, you know, partly probably this comes from the fact that like Ang Lee takes women seriously and like makes movies in which women have rich inner lives. But like these women we don't get a ton of them. Like I don't think that this movie would like pass the Bechdel test.
For sure not.
But we certainly get a sense that these women have inner lives and they are not two-dimensional stand-ins for the men's journeys.
Right. Alma Jr. showing up and asking her dad to come to her wedding. It is a complex scene. She's excited about her new fiance. She's nervous that her dad is going to say no, right? Like you really feel her anxiety. It is not just focused on him. Half of the emotional tension in this room as the audience is this man going to disappoint his daughter? Right?
Again.
Exactly. And so you just threw out, whenever a woman is on the screen, you care just as much about her in her life as you care about the man's. Yeah. And that stood out to me at the end. I was like, oh, this movie doesn't hate women.
No.
This movie respects women. That's nice.
I also feel like this being the final scene reminds us too that like the fact that he was only ever really happy when he was away from his family, that he was constantly leaving them, that the version of him his daughters got to see was mostly a version who was violent and repressed and unhappy.
And drunk.
And drunk often, has also shaped them.
Yep.
Like he's been a pretty bad dad.
Yeah.
He's been a pretty bad dad. And she still loves him and wants him in her life. And yeah, it just was like, this came at a cost to all of the people in his life. This closetedness, this unhappiness. It has these ripples throughout everybody who cares for him.
Hannah, there's a moment in this ending that we forgot about. There's like this 2-second or probably like 20-second flashback that we get in the ending to them being young and Ennis coming up from behind Jack and putting his arms around him. It is such a tender moment and again, so sad. It is so sweet. Ennis comes up from behind Jack. Jack is almost asleep on his feet. He's so tired from working so hard. He's standing at like a campfire that's burning down. And Ennis, he says, right, like, it's like my mom used to say, you're falling asleep on your feet
like a horse.
Yeah, and calls him cowboy. And then he says, I gotta go, because he has to go tend to the sheep. He doesn't get to spend the night. And so there's just this flashback of such sweet tenderness. And even in it, they're like not getting to spend time together. And they are so tired that they are falling asleep while standing up.
Yeah. And that is still probably the happiest he ever was.
That's the happiest moment. Like, that's the implication, is like this was the happiest moment of their relationship, is this sweet, tender moment. There isn't even a kiss in it, right? Like, it's just barely a hug. Anything else stand out to you?
I think that final shot is so powerful because the final shot shows us the postcard next to the window from his trailer.
Yeah.
And we get this very clear division between the thing that he's going to hold on to, which presumably he's not going back to Brokeback Mountain.
Right.
And its contrast to the reality of the world that he is living in, which is flat. You know, to go back to what you were saying last week about sort of Westerns and their flatness versus the mountains as this enclosing space that protects you and allows you to do things that, you know, hopefully can't be seen. You know, that final juxtaposition of those two landscapes gives us this reminder of both what Brokeback Mountain means to him and of how, like, it's an emotional landscape.
Yeah.
It can't be reaccessed without Jack.
God, Hannah, this movie's so sad.
This movie's so sad.
What do we think that this movie thinks about gay men?
Oh, I think that this movie wants the possibility of them on a ranch to be real. Like, it offers us these little glimpses of a possibility for the kind of life that they could build together, of the kind of happiness that they can experience together. It, even amidst all of the tragedy, carves out these spaces to say, like, there's nothing about this love that is in and of itself sad or doomed or tragic. Yeah. It is an external condition that is being violently imposed on them. Their actual love is so joyful.
Yeah.
And that sort of pipe dream of, like, we could have opened a ranch together. They could have. You know, they couldn't have, but they could have, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like,
totally.
I think there's a tendency in these, you know, bury your gays conversations to very legitimately point out that, like, our stories about queer love tend to be tragic.
Right.
And that we don't get a lot of images of queer love that is actually happy. And so I think that it is meaningful that amidst the misery of this movie, we do get to see them happy together on multiple occasions, not just when they're 19.
No. I mean, when they're 19, there's the shot that, I mean, Randy Quaid, it turns out, is watching them. But they're like wrestling a little bit, and it's so cute. And then when they go to Brokeback for the first time, they go cliff jumping, right? It's like very free. And the moment that I find the most tender is when they're in bed together for the first time upon being reunited in the motel room. Jack is talking about how rodeoing isn't what it used to be. And the way that Ennis is like, yeah, like they so deeply understand each other.
Yeah.
And the realities of each other. And my body was too broken for the army. Yeah. Right. Like they so understand what it is like to be in each other's realities.
Yeah.
In a way that's inherently queer, right? Like a woman like wouldn't know what that's like, but they totally understand this about each other. It's like a microsecond when he's like, rodeoing isn't what my daddy grew up with. And he's like, yep, I know. Like, I know it. Whew. Yeah, I do think that this movie believes that the love between gay men can be beautiful.
Yeah. And real. You know, I was doing a little sort of bopping around the internet yesterday, reading some different takes on this movie. And one of them, you know, was by sort of, I think, like a young gay blogger who was talking about Ang Lee's movies, sort of thinking through like what it means for a straight man to be making these two iconic gay love stories, right? The Wedding Banquet and Brokeback Mountain. And he argues in the piece, he's like, the homophobia comes through in how violent and animalistic their sex scenes are. That like their sex is depicted as gross. And I was like, oh, disagree.
I really disagree.
Like it is sometimes aggressive and sometimes it's playful and right? Like that we get this
sometimes
whole
it's
range.
Tender.
Sometimes it's so tender. Like we get this sort of range of ways that they are together and it gets to be unboundaried, which feels like the most significant thing about the way they are together, that they are, it's the closest either of them get to being free.
Yeah. I have no idea about how I would rewrite this ending, Hannah. It's a tragedy and it's like perfectly tragic. I would end homophobia. I don't know. Like I would rewrite the world. I don't have a rewrite. I think it's even the right car that she drives up in.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's like anything that I wish that I had more of. Right? Like so often when we're doing this sort of like, if you could rewrite this ending, it's like, well, I want to know this. Like you've left this thing out and I want to see this, or I want this resolution, or I want a little bit more about this character. But I don't feel that with this movie. It's just like, if I could rewrite this ending, it would be so much less sad.
Sad, yeah.
But then it would be a different movie.
It would be a different movie.
Oh, man. Speaking of a different movie, can we do a happier one next?
Yes. So our next mini season is going to be Wedding Industrial Complex. And we are starting with Hannah, one of my top 1% movies.
Uh-huh.
And that is My Best Friend's Wedding.
Oh, incredible. Incredible. Perfect segue because it's kind of gay.
Ugh, a perfect film. So we're going to take 2 weeks off between our little mini seasons, and we will be back in 2 weeks with My Best Friend's Wedding.
I can't wait.
You've been listening to Hot and Bothered. This is your last week to support us in our Patreon push and have yourself count as one of the 100 new patrons in September and help us make an extra special episode. But it's not your last week to support us on Patreon. You can join us over there anytime. If you love the show, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We are a Not Sorry production. The executive producers are me, Vanessa Zoltan, and Ariana Nettleman, and we are edited and produced by Ariana Nettleman and distributed by 8cast. Thanks as always to our soulmate level patrons, Elizabeth Schweinsberg, whose heart we would play a game of one-on-one basketball for, Lauren Byer O'Connell, who we would call up on stage to dance with us in front of the whole summer camp, Avi Lichtenstein, who we would make every person in the kingdom try on a shoe for, Kristen Hall, who we would travel through a time portal to spend the 19th century with, Shiri Yadlin, who we would write a sonnet about and read it in front of the whole class, Delia Rose, who we are majorly, totally, but crazy in love with, Leia Goldberg, who we would carry on our backs as we jump from tree to tree like a spider monkey, Molly Reilly, who we would chase through an airport to declare our love to, Russell Tongue, whose wedding we would yell, "I object" at, Emma Greenlee, who we would choreograph a cheer for, and Lauren Gordon, who we would ride the Ferris wheel for over and over again. And thanks to our team, Julia Argy, Nikki Zoltan, AJ Aramas, Courtney Brown, Anissa Ahmed, Danny Langley, and Stephanie Paulsell.